What's up, guys? I wanted to show you Trump's Israel policy that he just unveiled with Vance speaking, actually. And we haven't, there have been some clips where he talks about Israel, but he hasn't outright talked about it a lot. But definitely worth a watch. So let's check it out. All right. Give me a second. All right. So let's check it out.
This AI trade finder will handpick you options trades every morning on autopilot. Hi, bye.
Ladies, right here.
JD, Linda Stein, Delaware Valley Journal. What is your position and President Trump's position on Israel and the Gaza war?
Well, look, our position is pretty simple. It's that the best thing for Israel and the best thing for the United States is for this war to be over as quickly as possible and for Hamas to be destroyed in the process. And what I don't understand is you have Kamala Harris, who says that she's really concerned about civilian casualties. Well, I'm very concerned about civilian casualties too. But if you're concerned about civilian casualties, you want the war to be over as quickly as possible, and you want to destroy Hamas's ability to fight. She's pursuing policies that are doing exactly the opposite, prolonging the war as long as possible and not allowing Israel to finish the job against Hamas. It's the worst of all possible worlds. Donald Trump is going to return strength to the American foreign policy scene. And
100% right.
Just one more observation about this. This is especially to anybody watching who is skeptical of Donald Trump, who remembers when the American media said that Donald Trump was going to start a nuclear war. Did anybody notice that the country and the world were at greater peace under the presidency of Donald Trump than anybody, Democrat or Republican, who came before? It's kind of amazing, actually, because I remember when all of you, meaning the media, all the media said that this guy was going to start World War III. We are on the brink of World War III thanks to Kamala Harris's leadership. We got to get strong American leadership back in there to bring a little bit of calm back to the world. Pennsylvania? I love this. Who is this guy? We need to bring him on the plane with us.
Senator.
All right, that was a great video. Just for anyone that didn't see it, let's start from the question in the beginning.
Ladies, right here.
JD, Linda Stein, Delaware Valley Journal. What is your position and President Trump's position on Israel and the Gaza war?
Well, look, our position is pretty simple. It's that the best thing for Israel and the best thing for the United States is for this war to be over as quickly as possible and for Hamas to be destroyed in the process. And what I don't understand is you have Kamala Harris, who says that she's really concerned about civilian casualties. Well, I'm very concerned about civilian casualties too. But if you're concerned about civilian casualties, you want the war to be over as quickly as possible, and you want to destroy Hamas's ability to fight. She's pursuing policies that are doing exactly the opposite, prolonging the war as long as possible and not allowing Israel to finish the job against Hamas. It's the worst of all possible worlds. Donald Trump is going to return strength to the American foreign policy scene. And just one more observation about this. This is especially to anybody watching who is skeptical of Donald Trump, who remembers when the American media said that Donald Trump was going to start a nuclear war. Did anybody notice that the country and the world were at greater peace under the presidency of Donald Trump than anybody, Democrat or Republican, who came before? It's kind of amazing, actually, because I remember when all of you, meaning the media, all the media said that this guy was going to start World War III. We are on the brink of World War III thanks to Kamala Harris's leadership. We got to get strong American leadership back in there to bring a little bit of calm back to the world.
And it's really about the fact that Trump was a little crazy to the world, because when you're crazy to the world leaders aren't interested in pissing you off and then getting nuked. It's just not a good, there's a balance, when you're so rational, world leaders sort of look at you like they can do a certain thing and understand exactly what you're going to do, Whereas Trump was like, okay, you do this, you're going to get assassinated, you know, or he'll send you a photo of your home like he did with the leaders in Afghanistan. Let's just watch one more video where this is just I had to watch this video because it's pretty insane. This Jewish woman is talking to.
Are you partisan?
Well, we're partisan for the truth. Is what we're partisan
right.
for.
Nice. I like that. Partisan for the truth. That's
even
good.
though I'm wearing a Kamala Harris hat.
Right. I know.
But still, it's not partisan.
First of all, let's point out the fact that she's wearing a mask, and anyone that's wearing a mask at this point is completely out of their minds.
But I'm
Right.
advocating for her to. It's like a nonpartisan way.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you don't vote for Kamala Harris and Trump gets in, these policies get implemented.
No, that's all. We got to stop Trump.
Kamala's going to get in. You know, it's good. It's going to happen. But
Fingers crossed.
right, fingers crossed.
You know,
but
pray,
if she
glad to pray
doesn't,
with it.
right. But if she doesn't, again, they're going to continue to try pushing.
But racial justice is the particular focus of mine.
Uh-huh.
Is that important to you in your personal life? To decolonize, decenter your whiteness?
Hands down, absolutely. And everything you do, you have to think about.
How do you do that on a daily basis? You get up in the morning, you're decentering.
First of all, who has access? Who's at the table? And who's in the room?
I'm gonna go a little overboard.
Yeah, go.
But-
Let's hear it.
but
Let's hear it.
If I walk into a room and there are people of color in the room, I want to literally not be in the center of the room.
Yep.
So I'm walking around the
Literally.
edges
Yeah.
of the room.
Yeah.
Just so I'm not in the center. Not everyone goes that far.
Right. And that
I'm
that's
super committed to it. So that's
I mean, I walk in a room, I'm white, but I'm also an anti-Zionist Jew of Ukrainian descent. I'm also a lesbian. I also, identify as a dyke. So like all those things.
you got a couple more.
But but
I don't have to say points, but you have a couple more points
right. So you
than
have
I
to be
do.
aware.
I have no points.
Well, no, but you have a say. And also, if you're not fighting for reproductive justice as a man, especially as a straight man, that's some work to do, right? Yeah.
I look around this place.
Uh-huh.
Bravo, she's an anti-Zionist Jew. Anti-Zionist Jew equals total psycho because this woman is still wearing a mask and still has, decentering her whiteness, just complete crazy ideologies and crazy ideas that are pushed onto her by the woke left. She's a sheep. She's a complete sheep to whatever the woke left tells her to do.
It's too many white people.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Too many white.
But a lot of black women who are organizing, and
But
they
then
always have.
the white people are walking through. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Because the black women set it up, the white people show up.
But this is an elite scenario here.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's just like anybody can come, but really, can they? Do they feel like they're welcome?
Well, it's great talking
All
to you.
right. Yeah, you too.
Thank
Take
you.
it easy.
Thank you. Yeah.
We'll do the shake thing.
Well,
Right, so that was enough of that. Now let's check out another video of JD Vance talking about Hezbollah.
Modern look,
and how
thick,
it's
absorbent layers. But these
I'm from CG Newspapers, and Iran and Hezbollah are in the news as the world waits for an attack on Israel. You said on a radio talk show this week you suspect that a number of Iranian-related militias that have terrorist agents are within the United States thanks to the current administration. What do we know about these suspected Iranian agents or other terrorists and their leverage? And do you think they're preparing an October 7th style attack in the U.S.? And if so, how does the Trump administration, a future Trump administration or potential one, navigate that Iranian leverage on their foreign policies?
Sure. Well, first of all, let me just say that President Trump noticed that when he was in office, we did not have the world on fire. We did not have a war in the Middle East and a war in Europe and war threatening to break out in East Asia. President Trump was the candidate of peace and prosperity. He delivered peace all over the world. He would do it again if he was president of the United States. Now, what's going on in Israel, again, highlights the weakness of the Kamala Harris administration. Kamala Harris is a person who says she wants the war in Israel to be over with, and also that she wants to minimize civilian casualties. Well, I want those things too. Then why isn't she giving Israel the weapons it needs to minimize civilian casualties? And why isn't she giving Israel the weapons it needs to end this conflict quickly? The best thing for the United States of America is for Israel to end its war, to destroy Hamas, and then to rebuild the Abraham Accords of President Trump so that the Sunni Arab states and the Israelis can form a regional counterbalance to Iran. That is what is in the best interest of our country. That's what's in the best interest of Israel. And it's telling that Kamala Harris refuses to do what she needs to do to keep America and its allies safe. And the final point that I'd say is, yes, I believe that there are Iranian-backed militia groups in this country right now because we know thousands of people have come across the U.S. southern border who have ties to terrorism. Well, it's really endangers your country, and I fear we're going to have a very bad headline here and a lot of people who could lose their lives because Kamala Harris refuses to keep terrorists out of our country. It's disgraceful, but it highlights.
All right, so that's enough of that. I wanted to share here. This is the Biden-Trump debate.
Thank you. Moving on.
Where Trump and Biden both talked about Israel and Hamas, and Biden is even more conservative and even more sort of understanding of what Israel is going through, versus Kamala Harris would be much worse for Israel. But check this out.
To the Middle East. In October, Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people and taking hundreds of hostages. Among those held and thought to still be alive are 5 Americans. Israel's response has killed thousands of Palestinians and created a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. President Biden, you've put forward a proposal to resolve this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages, and Israel is continuing its military offensive in Gaza. So what additional leverage will you use to get Hamas and Israel to end the war? You have 2 minutes.
Number one, everyone from the United Nations Security Council straight through to the G7 to the Israelis and Netanyahu himself have endorsed the plan I put forward, which has 3 stages to it. The first stage is trade the hostages for a ceasefire. Second phase is a ceasefire with additional conditions. The third phase is the end of the war. The only one who wants the war to continue is Hamas, number one. They're the only ones standing out. We're still pushing hard to get them to accept. In the meantime,
that's a lie. It's an outright lie. There's a lot of Israelis on the right that want the war to continue. There's a lot of Americans who stand with Israel that want the war to continue. And there's a lot of Jews that want the war to continue because we haven't, achieved our goals.
What's happened in Israel? We're finding that the only thing I've denied Israel was 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work very well in populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people. We're providing Israel with all the weapons they need and when they need them. And by the way, I'm the guy that organized the world against Iran when they had a full-blown intercontinental ballistic missile attack on Israel.
You're also the one that said don't, and they still did, so your words hold no weight.
No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it just stopped. We saved Israel. We are the biggest producer of support for Israel of anyone in the world. And so there are 2 different things. Hamas cannot be allowed to be continued. We continue to send our experts and our intelligence people as to how they can get Hamas like we did bin Laden. You don't have to do it. And by the way, they've been greatly weakened, Hamas, and they should be. They should be eliminated. But you've got to be careful for using certain weapons among population centers.
Just going back to Ukraine for 1 second. We have an ocean separating us. The European nations together have spent $100 billion, or maybe more than that, less than us. Why doesn't he call them and say, you got to put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General said Trump did the most % of the money was people to put up the money. And it has a bigger impact on Israel, a nation, because we have an ocean in between. You got to ask them, as far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one who wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
That's the perfect description of Joe Biden, because he's a Palestinian, meaning he appeases them, but he's a weak one because he really is not taking either side. He's a weak Palestinian because he's more to the Palestinian cause than most presidents would be. But on the other hand, he's also someone that's not deciding which side he should be on. And now Kamala Harris is another example of someone that says one thing to the Jewish crowd and to the pro-Israel crowd and says another thing, a whole other spiel to the Palestinian and anti-Israel crowd. She says she's sympathetic to them. She says that she's willing to even, stop arms to Israel. So anyone that believes that Biden and Kamala Harris are better for Israel than Trump is has a problem, like literally has a Trump mental derangement syndrome, because of the fact that he helped Israel, with moving the embassy to Jerusalem. He, basically brought peace with the Abraham Accords. He not only, well, he has a lot of Jewish relatives and stuff like that, but he also basically gave Israel permission to annex and basically endorsed their claim over the Golan Heights. So there's a lot of things there where Trump was essential in giving Israel land, not taking it away, as well as, this peace through strength around the world. There were no wars under Trump. So why do you think that is? Do you think that's just because, happenstance? No, it's because terrorist entities and terrorist countries, really, because there are, looked at him as a leader who they didn't understand what exactly he was going to do. They didn't understand that, maybe if they did something, they would be dead the next day. He killed Khomeini. He killed, Soleimani, Qasem Soleimani in Iran. He has repeatedly told stories, I don't know if they're 100% true, of sending pictures of the house of, a terrorist group, and basically saying, if you do something, this is going to happen. He's, played hardball with Kim Jong-un, with Russia. And if you want to say he had a good relationship with them, maybe that's the case. But is that really a bad thing? Is it really a bad thing to have a good relationship with strong countries in the world that have, anti-American views, but at the same time, we want them on our side? So again, if you're Jewish, you should vote Trump. If you're sane, you should vote Trump. If you're normal, if you're crazy, you should be voting Biden, Harris, and see where that takes you. It's like voting Biden, Harris now is like the world has been on fire for the last 4 years, and you just adding another few logs to the fire. For more, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to help us make more of these videos, go to buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored.